and welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons Homebrew Builds, the series where I'll be constructing classes, and I guess weapons and races, based on characters from your favorite anime, comics, TV shows, and video games. Today we'll be bringing our Record of Ragnarok revisions to a close with a short video on Skypiercer, Jarngreiper, and Mjolnir as homebrew equipment, and a god race. This will also be the end of our Record of Ragnarok coverage for a while, as I'm frankly getting burnt out on covering this series, so be sure to show your support for the channel and your interest in the content by leaving a like on the video. I do already have classes for Adam, Zeus, Sasaki Kojiro, and Poseidon already made, so if you want me to drop those classes in the future, show me by leaving a like. Also, a quick notice before we get started, I use the Fight Club 5e app for all of my class construction and character making needs, so I will be leaving the XML files for each homebrew build made in the description down below. I'm not sponsored by or affiliated with Lion's Den in any way, I just genuinely like the app, find it useful and effective, and use it for all my D&D needs. If you guys want to consider my endorsement and give it a look, all the power to you. If you do, you will of course be able to use the homebrew I build by downloading the XML file onto your app's compendium, as opposed to copying it all down to God knows where. Speaking of God, let's talk shop. First up, we'll be discussing the new race, gods. If you're here for something in particular and don't want to have to watch through the video to search, check the description or comment section down below for timestamps. Not saying I'll put them there since I'm kinda lazy, but check just in case because I might. Anyway, gods are a simple yet powerful race. By the way, for now, I'll be using the old 5e system in which racial ability score bonuses are stipulated. Gods are blessed with a +2 bonus to 4, count 'em, 4 ability scores. Strength, because gods are strong enough to destroy Earth. Dexterity, because some gods are faster than light. Constitution, because several gods have displayed high stamina, and they all have the durability to be immune to damage from a nuclear bomb, via virtue of it being a human weapon. And Wisdom, because gods have been around for a while, with some gods predating both time and even the universe itself. Next, we have 6 traits just in case you want to make your own Record of Ragnarok God OC for D&D 5e, which would be, totally cool. So, seriously, hit me up in the comment section if you do this, and tell me about your God OC. Anyway, traits are description, age, alignment, size, a race-specific trait, and languages. For a god's description, gods are divine beings of awesome power that watch over the mortal world, sometimes taking a more active role in events to occur. Wielding power far beyond mortal capability, gods tend to be overwhelmingly arrogant, with problematic personalities in one way or another that make them insufferable to most mortals. Nothing more to be said there. Every god shown thus far has had a somewhat problematic personality to some degree, more often than not stemming from their perceived superiority. For age, while some gods seem to show signs of age, others never appear elderly, maturing at the appearance of a middle-aged adult. While it is unknown why some gods appear to age, none of the gods suffer any of the effects of age that mortals do, being immune to the effects of age and effectively immortal. Prime example of this is Zeus being Poseidon's younger brother, yet appearing older than him. Regardless, your appearance age-wise will just act as flavor since you are mechanically immortal anyway. Next up, alignment. Gods typically vary widely in terms of moral alignment, though most mortals would consider them to be some combination of neutral, evil, and or chaotic. A few gods might lean towards good or lawfulness, but only rarely. For every evil Zeus and Poseidon and every neutral Thor and Shiva, you've got a Hercules here and a Buddha there, though it is worth mentioning that both of the examples are mortals-made gods, hence the rarely. Size is fairly typical. Gods are between 6 and 7 feet tall and weigh between 100 and 300 pounds. Your size is medium. Before, Anubis turns out to be tiny, or Beelzebub's true form turns out to be colossal or something. Anyway, your race-specific trait is actually quite powerful, especially for early game, so I will preface this trait by saying this. You need to go to your DM and discuss whether this race is okay to use, because even if they think they don't need to know, I'm sure you'll be doing them a favor by at least preparing them if a +2 to 4 different ability scores doesn't have them worried yet. Gods get divine biology. You have transcended so far above the level of power humanity is capable of, they cannot even harm you. You are immune to non-magical bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage. Admittedly, this race doesn't get many unique traits, no dark vision, no any kind of special vision, no trance, nothing like that. But while it's kind of bare bones, a +2 bonus to 4 ability scores and immunity to non-magical bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage is really all you need to be incredibly powerful in the early game. One might even go as far as to say that this race is a bit OP or unbalanced, and I wouldn't disagree. Simply put, there was no way around this. Gods are specifically stated to be immune to non-divine weapons, as that's the whole reason Volans exist. Just let your DM know what they're in for if they say yes, or be accommodating if they try to balance it. Worst case scenario, be understanding if your DM says no. As a kind of forever DM myself, I know how much having a fun, challenging campaign for your players means to a DM, so don't shit on their parade to self-fillet. That's not cool. And hopping off my soapbox, we'll finish traits with languages. You can speak, read, and write Common and Celestial. I know they don't actually know Celestial in the series, but they're literally gods. I say they get Celestial. Other than that, gods have 30 feet of movement speed per round, and that's it for the race. And so, with the race out of the way, let's talk about the divine equipment. Thor's Mjolnir and Jarngreiper, and the Volan's Skypiercer. We'll do Skypiercer first since we covered Lubu's class first. Skypiercer is a legendary magical halberd with the martial, heavy, and reach properties. It does a d10 of slashing damage, does not have a cost, and weighs 6 pounds. The description for the weapon is as follows. Skypiercer is a Voland, a divine weapon made of the Valkyrie Rangritz's body and spirit with the property of Shield Breaker. Shield Breaker. This weapon shatters all defensive armaments on contact. Divine Weapon. When used to attack a celestial/divine creature, this weapon bypasses resistances and immunities. This weapon cannot be destroyed by any weapon made by mortals. Heavy. Small creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls with heavy weapons. A heavy weapon's size and bulk makes it too large for a small creature to use effectively. Reach. This weapon adds 5 feet to your reach when you attack with it, as well as when you're determining your reach for opportunity attacks with it. So, all the normal halberdy stuff aside, if you attack a creature with Skypiercer and miss specifically because of a bonus to armor class that creature has from some equipment like armor or a shield or something, even if it's magical or even an artifact, it will completely shatter and break. Furthermore, you get your little Volan property there, since this is an anti-divine weapon that can't be broken by mortal weapons. All in all, it's Skypiercer. Enough said. Next, let's do Jarngreiper, just to edge you guys, because I'm pretty sure the majority of you are here for Mjolnir. Jarngreiper is a legendary set of magical gauntlets classified as heavy armor. They have an armor class of 12, since this just covers your hands and forearms, cost nothing, and weigh 40 pounds, 20 pounds per glove. The description for Jarngreiper is as follows. These gauntlets are legendary pieces of armor that are capable of withstanding any attack. When you are attacked, you can make a DC 20 dexterity saving throw. If you succeed, you can block the incoming attack with one of your gauntlets, negating the damage of the attack completely. This cannot block more than 2 attacks at one time or an area of effect attack. So if you're fast enough to put an arm between you and an attack while wearing 40-pound gloves, that attack does bubkiss. But you gotta have good reaction speed because it's just your hand or forearm blocking the attack, and they weigh quite a bit. They also serve a second purpose, as we'll come to discuss now, with Mjolnir. Finally, we got Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. Funny story before we get into the details, just to keep you guys all on the edge of your seats. I based Mjolnir on a different pre-existing weapon already in D&D 5e, but initially I tried to make it from scratch like I did with both Skypiercer and Jarngreiper. What I ended up basing it on was a weapon called the Hammer of Thunderbolts, a weapon I chose because it was a hammer weapon with special properties like I planned to make Mjolnir into, and because it had Thunderbolts in the name. Those that know of this weapon probably already understand, but for those of you that don't, get this. The Hammer of Thunderbolts is literally D&D's version of Mjolnir. I just happened to pick it after googling magic D&D 5e hammers and finding it and a dwarven thrower, but it's literally Mjolnir. For example, another name for Mjolnir is Jotunbane, since Thor's specialty was slaying giants. Hammer of Thunderbolts literally has a special property called Giant's Bane, which is strikingly similar to Jotunbane. Favorite part? Hammer of Thunderbolts can be thrown without having the thrown property, as to be expected since Thor often throws Mjolnir. I also made Mjolnir throwable when I was making it from scratch, but I actually gave it the thrown property and gave it a range of 20 to 60 feet. When I saw that Hammer of Thunderbolts could be thrown without the thrown property, I incorporated that into Mjolnir as well, and when I looked at the range to get a base idea of what I wanted to set mine to be, lo and behold, it's 20 to 60 feet. The coincidences that evening making Mjolnir were fucking wild. Anyway, onto the actual weapon itself. Mjolnir is a legendary magical warhammer that requires attunement. It deals 2d6 bludgeoning damage and has the heavy and two-handed properties. It has no cost, weighs 80 pounds, and the description for it is as follows. You must be wearing Jarngreiper to attune to this weapon unless it is awoken. The attunement ends and the weapon breaks if you take off Jarngreiper and attack using this weapon. You gain a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with this magical weapon. Seas and Land. This mighty weapon is capable of tearing apart even the seas and land. Your strength score increases by 4 and can exceed 20 but not 30. Earth Shatterer. The great power of this hammer has the capability to shatter the earth with its devastating impacts. When you roll a 20 on an attack roll made with this weapon, the target must succeed on a DC 17 Constitution saving throw or die. Never Miss. You can make a ranged weapon attack with this hammer, hurling it as if it had the thrown property with a normal range of 20 feet and a long range of 60 feet. When used for a ranged weapon attack rolls for the attacks are made at advantage. Awakening. After 4 rounds of combat, Mjolnir will awaken, causing it to appear to have red, pulsating veins running through it. After awakening, Mjolnir can be used without wearing Jarngreiper, and this hammer exudes a heat that is able to reduce even the sturdiest of stone to molten lava at a touch. Attacks with this weapon deal an additional 2d6 fire damage. Mjolnir's awakening can be ended without using an action, or it will end after 4 rounds. Divine Weapon. When used to attack a celestial/divine creature, this weapon bypasses resistances and immunities. This weapon cannot be destroyed by any weapon made by mortals. Heavy. Small creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls with heavy weapons. A heavy weapon's size and bulk make it too large for a small creature to use effectively. Two-handed. This weapon requires 2 hands when you attack with it. Well, we've got all the greatest hits here. Strong Smash, Kill Smash, Throw Hit, Melty Smash, and Holy Smash. Rest is just hammer stuff. Guess that's going to do it for Mjolnir. And that's going to do it for this episode of Dungeons & Dragons Homebrew Builds. If you enjoyed the new race option and the 3 new pieces of equipment, go ahead and leave a like on the video. It helps to support the channel, and your support is greatly appreciated. Comment down below whether or not you liked the homebrew build for this video, and feel free to tell me what you did or did not like. Is there anything I could do better? Do you guys like the new format? Let me know down below. Also, let me know what other homebrew builds you guys want to see in the comment section down below. Next up are the Grappler Baki class revisions, but if you want to see some homebrew made from a certain series, let me know down below and I'll see what I can do. I've already built a ton of classes and races for different video games, manga, and anime, so especially if you want to see something like that, I got your number. Hit that notification bell to be updated on new episodes of Dungeons & Dragons Homebrew builds when they drop. Subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content or any of the other content on the channel, such as stuff from Grappler Baki, Bleach, or JoJo's. I've been Chris Rocha, the YouTuber that's even better than the best YouTuber, and this has been Dungeons & Dragons Homebrew Builds. Thanks for watching. Peace.